101.1 FM.
It's the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com at 11 minutes after 8 o'clock. And very happy to welcome into the studio today somebody who's new to us. It's very rare that we get new folks in here. How about that? Melanie Obitz Burkatek is with us this morning. Melanie is an Indiana High grad, and it's good to have you with us. Our conversation is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted Best Personal Injury Law Firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Melanie, you're the starter of an ed tech startup company.
I sure am.
Yeah.
I'm so delighted to be in my hometown
yeah?
and get to talk about this. And you had mentioned that I'm new. Mm-hmm. Technically, when I was 4 years old, I was the voice of a commercial that ran on 1160 WCCS.
Really? Do you remember who it was for?
Well, I remember that the location was on the corner of 4th and Philly, because that's how the commercial ended.
Oh, yeah? That's it, huh?
Yeah, that's what my 4-year-old brain
held
on
to. Go back and
to.
think. Let me see. What used to be at 4th and Philly and what's there now?
It was a clothing store for kids.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I'm sure that you wore them well. All right, but this is entirely different.
It is.
This is serious stuff here. Mm-hmm. It's an ed tech startup, democratizing writing instruction. That phrase right there got me. It grabbed me and said, what is that? What is democratizing writing? What is that about?
Well, it means that no matter where a student attends school or where they live, through our service, they're able to have access to the highest quality writing instruction. Mm-hmm. And not everybody got to go through the Indiana school system in the 1980s and 90s like I did. Mm-hmm. So I got to come out with incredibly strong writing skills. But that's not the case everywhere.
Yeah. But you're trying to remedy that.
That's absolutely right. Writing is a tool for life, mm-hmm. and everyone deserves to learn how to leverage writing mm-hmm. so they can use it as a tool for life. And unfortunately, what can happen in many school spaces is that students start to think of themselves as bad writers or that they can't find their voice, which is sort of hilarious because it's like, if you can't find your voice, it's like somebody saying, "Where's your nose?" It's yours. It's your nose. Sure. It's your voice. But we have, unfortunately, these experiences that hinder students recognizing that they have within them to communicate in a physical form. Mm-hmm. And our goal is to make sure that everyone is able to do that.
Now, people are going to wonder, okay, what kind of writing is she talking about? Creative writing, sentence structure, all of these different things?
Those are really great questions. Yes.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. Writing is all of those things. Mm-hmm. And we are starting with a very specific type of writing as we are launching into this space. And that very particular piece or type of writing is the personal essay mm-hmm. for high school students who are applying to college.
Okay.
And we are starting here for multiple reasons. One, those teenagers are motivated to write that very specific piece of writing because mm-hmm. it's an entryway into college. Mm-hmm. And we're also focusing on it because the personal essay is hugely beneficial to people when we engage in those sorts of sifting through memories and writing out our thoughts about experiences.
And students are just learning at this point and discovering that about themselves, aren't they?
You nailed it. Yeah, it's a wonderfully pivotal time in life, and there's a host of research that has surfaced that when people engage in that type of writing, they can see themselves more clearly, they can see situations differently, and they can truly grow in their understanding of themselves and mm-hmm. others. So
do they not have the background anymore as they did back when you were younger, or is it just something that, everything gets blamed on devices these days, and certainly devices that do take their share of the blame. But I would assume it's a combination of all of it.
It is. It's a combination of all the things. So from one angle, when I became a teacher, so that had been my career. When I left IUP, I became a teacher. And what we recognized is that teacher preparation programs are helping teachers learn how to teach reading and math and science and social studies, but there's less than 26% of programs in the U.S. that help teachers even know how to teach writing. So we've got that sort of cyclical issue happening. And I do love the device talk of, that's what's hindering students. Now, I've worked with students and writing for over 20 years now, and it continues to evolve. However, what I have now recognized is leaning into what it is that they're already using. So, for example, when I used to work with students on what seems like an old-fashioned way of writing, which they were, in Google Docs or in a Word document, and they kept being on their phones. And I was like, oh, y'all, if you have the bigger screen, it's going to help you out. But once I started leaning into that they could speak into their phone and they could capture their thoughts, and oh golly, that would be in their voice for sure, and recognizing that we can capture their writing in so many different ways, that was when we saw huge improvements with student writing.
Used to be you could write with all of your fingers on the keyboard.
Yeah,
or with your thumbs.
Yep.
Only on your phone's keyboard. But now there are all kinds of different technologies that allow you to express yourself in all kinds of different ways.
There certainly are. And when we look at how writing is taught and then how people engage in writing, the steps are pretty simple. First we think, and then we speak, and then we put it into the physical form. And so being able to speak into the phone for these students is actually incredibly helpful for them, because that's technically, as research has shown us, the second step in writing anyway.
All right. So tell me about the name of the program, how it was that you came to develop it, and then how do we market it to folks?
These are such great questions. So the name of the company is The Collegiate Writer. And our very first product is the app that's called College Essay App, which is what I had shared moments ago about for that very specific piece of writing.
So how do we market this to folks and let them know that it's out there?
So the goal is that it will be a companion in school districts, not to replace the great things that are already happening there. Now, this very particular piece of writing is not typically taught within the school curriculum because it's considered to be external to applying to college and writing those essays. Now, we have our amazing teachers who are already so busy, and looking at and supporting additional essays is asking a whole lot. We've got amazing counselors in school spaces as well, but again, their bandwidth is spread. And so what we'd like to do is come in as a companion for school spaces, so that way students and families don't have to pay, but they can have access to the highest quality writing instruction to increase their chances of getting into the schools of their choice.
So it becomes a tool that the students can use to further their skills, number one, but also then to move forward and to find a way into the school of their choice, or even the career of their choice, whatever it happens to be.
Absolutely. And what I've learned over all these years of doing this type of work is specifically our high school students are the busiest people on the planet. They go to school all day, they work jobs, they play sports, they play instruments, somehow they have a social life. And so previously when I was asking for 60 minutes at a time outside of everything they're doing, that was too much. And so I've designed the app specifically for this population. They have 4 minutes when they're on their sports bus before they show up to their event. They can log in, watch a 23-second video, get some thoughts out, and it's captured for them. And so they can go through from beginning to end to writing these essays at times that work best for them.
All right, so the big question I have is, how long was this cooking in your brain before you said, okay, let's make this happen?
Oh, it's been cooking for a long time, many years. So over 20 years, I've dedicated my career to getting really good at helping people learn how to write and use it as a tool. I even have a PhD in this. This has been my life's work. And the pivot to become an app is actually less than a year old, as I was recognizing how technology is going to be the way that I can ensure that literally hundreds of thousands of students can have access to the highest quality writing instruction.
I would guess that you have some pretty specific thoughts on AI, too.
Oh, I sure do.
Yeah, because teachers are dealing with that now, and they're trying to find the best way to not demonize AI, but certainly to recognize it for what it is and what it does, and the potential that it has to either harm or help a student.
Absolutely. So one part of that is, I think, that when students learn how to leverage the power of AI, it sets them up to be incredibly successful. And that learning how to use writing as a tool for life and getting these incredibly foundational skills solid helps them to use AI in ways that they couldn't have used it otherwise. And if they aren't able to leverage it to its fullest capacity, it's almost as if that gap gets bigger. They'll be left further behind. And I don't love when the thought of, oh, well, AI can just write the essay for them. And the reason is because it's just not true. It doesn't work that way. I keep trying because I think, well, if I figure out a way that it's happening. But back to students having their voice is not AI. And it changes the voice. And it's as clear as the nose on their face. And once they're clear and solid on that, then they can use AI to go further than maybe they wouldn't have before.
Melanie Obitz Burkatek is our guest this morning. We're talking about this amazing program and app that she has come up with. And just a few moments left with you today. I'm sure that as you have applied this over the past year, 2 or 3 years, that you've seen some pretty vivid examples of it working in the life of some young person who is learning to write and finding their voice.
You know it, yes. So in the last 2 years, I've worked with over 300 high school students as they were applying to college. And every single one of them got into at least one of their top choice schools. So what we know is that 2 very excellent studies have been done that showcase how an essay can elevate a student's chances of getting into a school of their choice 10x. And we're witnessing that with the decrease of SATs and ACTs being needed for this particular entrance and the increase of those stories needing to come out clearly.
That's tremendous. Wow, this is so much fun. I wish we could go on. But we do need to tell folks how they learn more.
Well, they are so welcome to visit our website, which is in the midst of a revamp. So they could visit it now at www.collegeessayapp.com, and they'll see the current version. And then, in 2 weeks, we'll have the next version up.
Oh, yeah?
Because our app will be in the hands of high schoolers. And so we're ready to launch it in 2 weeks.
And so in 2 weeks, it'll probably just redirect us to...
Exactly. It'll be the fancier site.
Beautiful. Well, this sounds very exciting, and I can tell that you're excited about it.
Oh, I sure am.
And that as it expands and grows, that folks are going to really latch on to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Terrific. Well, it's good to meet you.
Thank you.
It's good to meet Mom. Mom's in the studio.
My mom's here, everyone. It's so great to be in my hometown and hang out with my family. It is. I love it.
She's seated off to our left, but we know you're there, Mom. It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Melanie, thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. It is a Tuesday morning. It's just about 25 minutes after 8 o'clock. Jake is in the newsroom. He's coming up in just a couple of moments. And then we visit with you from our WCCS newsroom. County commissioners are with us in our next half hour.